and welcome to this week's Glasstire Top 5. It is the week of December 27th, 2018. I'm Christina Rees.
And I'm Brandon Zech.
And this week, what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly recap. We found a thematic link. We're going to recap our best of 2018 list that we just published a couple of days ago.
So one of the things when looking at the list, first of all, I am really happy with our writers, and with this list, I think it really does highlight the best, some of the better things that happened in Texas in 2018. But when we were looking at it, I feel like a lot of best of lists are always just museum solo show, mildly big nonprofit solo show, and it just kind of goes like that. Maybe it's because there were good group shows and good, like, well-curated, large-scale group shows across the state.
Yeah, I feel like the group shows presented a sort of unified front. And considering our political climate, it seems like it was a very sane response to a pretty crazy time. So we've picked out some of the group shows on this list that were highlights for the year. It seems to be something that's happening in Texas. It's happening well. So number 5 on our list took place at Contemporary Arts Museum in Houston. Dean DeDerico, the curator, put it together. It was called Right Here, Right Now. This was kind of part of an ongoing CAM series that features local artists, but they expanded the definition of local to be San Antonio. So it's all San Antonio artists at the CAM in Houston.
This year's was 19 San Antonio artists and collaboratives, and it was the entire kind of thematic group show upstairs exhibition. Part of what we as Glasstire do is try and connect all of the cities of Texas, and I feel like this show was really kind of mirroring that mission, and it was doing it on its own accord because so often people in Houston have no idea what San Antonio is doing, and this was a really good effort on CAM's part to both think local and to also try and make that exchange happen in a place where it should but really doesn't.
So there were 12 writers who contributed to the list this year, and one thing that I was really happy that you put on your list was the re-examination of Houston's art history, or Houston's own re-examination of its own history, kicking off with Pete Gershon's excellent book called Collision.
It's hard for a community to kind of re-examine or look back at itself, especially when it's not like they're looking that far back. You only need to look 40 years back in terms of Houston. And Houston has a tendency to kind of want to destroy or build over. It's like the whole no zoning characteristic of the city that makes it so amazingly awesome and made this early history so amazingly awesome is the thing that also makes us not really think it's important and makes it really easy for us to kind of trash it. But it takes people like Pete Gershon is not a native Texan. He didn't live in Houston for a long time. He came into Houston and he was like, someone needs to do this, and I guess it's gonna be me, but it's great to have an outside person come in because they have that perspective that you don't have when you're too close to it. But also, when you do a project like this, if you do it right and rope people in, it makes people rethink about it. It makes people show the work again. It makes museums like the Museum of Fine Arts Houston pull out stuff. I think it's an important thing for Houston because a lot of younger Houstonians also don't really have a grasp, because if you don't see it or don't read about it, there's no way to know about it. So number 3 on our list is Walls Turn Sideways, Artists Confront the Justice System, which is a group show. It opened in August. It's actually still on view right now. It closes on January 6th at the Contemporary Arts Museum, Houston. It was put together by Rees, who is longtime semi-San Antonio-based, I believe Chicago-based curator, writer. And this show, it's another, as the theme goes, big group show, but it's artists who are looking at the justice system.
Yeah, it's got, the theme is incarceration, all the problems with policing and incarceration, probation. The whole system is corrupt. This is taking a good hard look at that. So number 2 on our list is the Transborder Biennial 2018 that took place at El Paso Museum of Art, as well as the museum in Juarez, right across the border. This was earlier this year, and in the summertime, Rainey and I got a chance to see it. There were 32 artists. The call, this is the 5th border biennial, by the way, that these two museums have collaborated on. And so they put out an open call to artists living within 200 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border, on either side of the border, including states other than Texas. So in order to really see the whole show, you need to go to both museums. I think it was just excellent. Obviously, the work was incredibly political. It was also very sharp. It was sometimes it was very funny. It could be very tragic. There's just a lot of really smart artwork coming out right now about what's going on in the border states and in the border regions. And I just look forward to them having it every other year. Absolutely. I think it's an important thing. I think that more and more people are going to be paying attention to it over the years. And I think it's a pioneering effort.
And number one on our best of group show recap is Monarchs, Brown and Native Artists in the Path of the Butterfly. This is a show also organized by Rees in San Antonio at the Blue Star Contemporary and at the Southwest School of Art. So it's another kind of multi-venue, huge group show, but all based around the migratory path of the monarch butterfly and the areas that the monarch crosses over, that kind of through the lens of the artists who are in the show and how that mirrors the geographical landscape and the ideas of migration that the artists' works deal with. A lot of the work it's beautifully political. It talks about Standing Rock. It talks about the Dakota Access Pipeline, both of which are in the migratory path of the monarch. I'm so happy also that this show is still up so that you still have a chance to see it if you have not.
You know, we didn't really have any overlap on our best of list this year, or at least I kind of tried to traffic control so that there wasn't too much of that. I think that this particular show would have made my best of list. It probably would have made your best of list. It's really a beautiful show. Very impressive effort. And yeah, the fact that you still have a little bit of time to see it, take advantage.